Karate is an ancient martial art that comes from Okinawa. It's spread all over the world to all kinds of different countries. It's very, very popular and lots of people practice it. I'm going to give you a little bit of history on where karate comes from and how it got to me. Basically, it all originates in the island of Okinawa. There's three main styles of karate. There's the Nahate style, that comes from the city of Naha in Okinawa. There's the Tomarite style, that comes from the city of Tomari in Okinawa. And then there's Shurite style, that comes from Shuri Castle. All of these different styles have their different origins, and they have different things that they're drawing in that help form what the style is all about. Nahate comes from Kung Fu. Tomarite is kind of a mix of Kung Fu and all different kinds of styles. And Shurite is a mix of kind of everything that makes up Okinawa. In a lot of ways, Okinawa is just a melting pot of martial arts. One of the nicknames of this style is Castle Karate. The reason why it was called that is because the people who practiced it worked for the king. They were police officers, they were his soldiers. They're the people that went out and tried to keep the peace in Okinawa. One of the techniques that's very indicative of this kind of karate is something that looks like this. A person will come up and grab the wrist. Oh, this looks really scary. Well, actually in ancient times this was, because what she's trying to do right now is prevent me from drawing my weapon. And in the ancient times, this was a really aggressive move because the next move is she's going to try and take my head off. So she comes in, boom, I'm releasing this technique at the same time pushing her away with my shoulder. And as I create some space, I either draw my weapon or deliver a strike to a strike point behind the ear, or I can use my offhand weapon. Okinawa lies on a major trade route between Southeast Asia, China, and Japan. It draws martial arts traditions from all over these regions. It draws its striking from Southeast Asia and China, and it draws its weapon techniques and various other kinds of techniques from Japan in the form of Jiu-Jitsu and Aiki-Jiu-Jitsu. It brings in techniques from all around the region, including the Philippines and Borneo. This makes karate one of the original mixed martial arts. Karate utilizes atemi, or striking techniques. Karate practices hazushi techniques. These are escapes. Karate practices torite, or joint pocket techniques. Karate practices nagate techniques, throwing. Karate spread all around the world from Okinawa. One of the first places that came was to Hawaii, actually. One of the first dojos that was opened outside of Okinawa was in 1894 on the island of Kauai. After that, there was a bunch of people in Okinawa who were very interested in introducing karate into the school system. So what they had to do is they had to take out a lot of these martial techniques that were inappropriate for school children to use. And then they started to bring that change system into the school system so that kids could practice this. Now the main reason why they're doing this is because at the time Japan had annexed Okinawa, and they were starting to become more militarized as a power. And so that changed the whole character and nature of karate. So when it spread out of Japan to the United States, to places like Korea and all over the world, this version of karate that was sanitized of all the techniques that were basically inappropriate for children to practice, that's the kind that went all over the world, and that's the kind that most people practice today. The Bubishi is a book, and this book is very, very important to karate history and what is actually supposed to be taught in this martial art. The history of this book is really interesting because if you trained in the old days, once you had reached a certain point, the master would say that you now are able to copy his book. And so the only way that this book was transferred was by copying it from student to master down the generations. So it's very interesting. In this book there's lots of chapters, and a third of the book is devoted to philosophy, because they felt that you had to know philosophy so that you didn't want to get into fights, you didn't want to use this stuff, and so you could be a better person, and that would keep the reason for violence away from you. Another part of the book was devoted to healing arts and making yourself feel better. The reason why they did this is not only just to keep you healthy, but in order to give you an idea of what these different techniques could do to a person. And so hopefully that would provide you with a reason to be restrained in all things whenever you had to utilize these techniques. And then the third section of this book was devoted to actual martial techniques. So some of the things that we just demonstrated, lots of other kinds of things that could be used for life protection if you had to use this stuff for that reason. So the Bubishi is a very important book. We pretty much bring this into our training, and it forms the core of what we do here. Karate practices healing arts or massage.